Howdy. In these dark and uncertain times, we might take a look at the sunny science of why we need sunlight. From the greenest of plants to our enormous solar panels, humans use sunlight every day as a source of energy and life. However, we also need sunlight directly to maintain good health. While the general understanding is that too much ultraviolet radiation from sun exposure can lead to detrimental effects such as skin damage and even cancer, it still stands that humans need a certain degree of it. This basal necessity of sunlight primarily arises out of its ability to boost vitamin D levels in our bodies. Additionally, humans need regular, consistent daily exposure to sunlight in order to regulate our own sleep cycles and other mental capacities. Thus, the summer months bring with them the sunnier weather. We ought to appreciate sunlight's benefits for our bodies. Vitamin D is an important nutrient for human life, as it helps regulate the amount of calcium and phosphate in the body, which together promote healthy bones, teeth, and muscles. Lacking vitamin D can lead to various musculoskeletal problems such as bone deformities in children, including ricket or bone pain and weakness in adults, known as osteomalacia and osteoporosis, respectively. Vitamin D is naturally present only in low concentrations in most foods, making exposure to sunlight and vitamin supplies the best ways to obtain vitamin D. While other essential vitamins are obtained from food, vitamin D is synthesized via a reaction in the skin that is triggered by exposure to ultraviolet B radiation. As infrequent exposure to sunlight leads to greater risk of vitamin D deficiency, daily sunlight exposure is very necessary. Sunlight availability varies geographically. A general trend of vitamin D deficiency follows, particularly in the winter months. Consequently, it is recommended by public health institutions across the globe for people to ensure adequate daily sun exposure to avoid health issues and exacerbating any other conditions. We could go on with this, but let's dive into something interesting, which you might find out has something to do with what I just read. Accidental power trip leads scientists to discover new way of generating hydrogen. It all started in 2019 when the team's lab lights went out for one night. Researchers from the National University of Singapore stumbled upon a discovery that could forever revolutionize how we acquire hydrogen from water, according to a press release from the institution published on Thursday. Light as a trigger. The team was led by Associate Professor Jun Min and Dr. Wang Xiaopeng and Dr. Vincent Li Wei Xiyang from the Department of Materials Science and Engineering under the NUS College of Design and Engineering, NUCDD. The discovery they made was that light could trigger a new mechanism in a catalytic material used in water electrolysis. Maybe not. Maybe this mechanism has been there all the time. You know? Probably this is how all this stuff gets created in space, on Earth. Transmutation of elements. It's about charge and all these kinds of things. But anyway, we discovered that the redox center for electrocatalytic reaction is switched between metal and oxygen, triggered by light, said Jun Min. This largely improves the water electrolysis efficiency. It all began with an accidental power trip of the ceiling lights in Jun Min's laboratory Jun Min's laboratory almost 3 years ago. Back then, the ceiling lights in Jun Min's research lab were normally turned on for 24 hours. When the lights went off due to a power failure, there was an opportunity to observe something that scientists had never witnessed before. Hasn't been there just recently something about Singapore and power failure and geomagnetic activity? Is that the same happening? This would be very funny. Anyway, when the researchers returned the next day, they found that the darkness had influenced the performance of a nickel oxyhydroxide-based material in the water electrolysis experiment. It had fallen drastically. This drop in performance nobody has ever noticed before because no one has ever done the experiment in the dark, said Jun Min. Also, the literature says that such a material shouldn't be sensitive to light. Light should not have any effect on its properties. Jun Min and his team knew that they stumbled on something significant, and they embarked on numerous repeated experiments to test out their new theories. They eventually had enough data to publish a paper. Now, the team is working on new ways to improve industrial processes to generate hydrogen, such as making the cells containing water to be transparent so as to introduce light into the water splitting process. This should require less energy in the electrolysis process, and it should be much easier using natural light, said Jun Min. More hydrogen can be produced in a shorter amount of time with less energy consumed. Pushing the boundaries. This is now very interesting. I like Jun Min. Pushing the boundaries, Jun Min added that the best way to develop science is not to keep finding new ways to do what has already been done, but to constantly push the boundaries. It's only through accumulation of new knowledge that we can improve society progressively, said Jun Min. He's a hero. Just alone by saying this. This discovery is bound to affect food companies that use hydrogen gas to turn unsaturated oils and fats into saturated ones, and the petroleum industry that uses gas to remove sulfur content from oil. Hydrogen has also the potential to be used as an eco-friendly fuel as it produces no emissions and is easier to store, making it more reliable than solar-powered batteries. The paper is published in the Nature Journal. Realizing an efficient electron transfer. Now I have to read this because we will stumble upon platonic solids, which is also very interesting. Since we are talking basically or mainly about mainstream science in a way, but this Jun Min seems to be a little bit of a different guy. A different scientist than many are. Realizing an efficient electron transfer process in the oxygen evolution reaction by modifying the electronic states around the Fermi level is crucial in developing high-performing and robust electrocatalysts. I have to check out what exactly the Fermi level is again. Maybe it is in a very small scale, or they are like really small parts, what they're talking about. Probably. Don't know. The Fermi lab. Typically, electron transfer proceeds slowly, solely through either a metal redox chemistry, an absorbate evolution mechanism, AEM, with metal bands, Cannibal Corpse, Slayer, around the Fermi level, or an oxygen redox chemistry, a lattice oxygen oxidation mechanism, with oxygen bands around the Fermi level. Without the concurrent occurrence of both metal and oxygen redox chemistries in the same electron transfer pathways. Here we report an electron transfer mechanism that involves a switchable metal and oxygen redox chemistry in nickel oxyhydroxide based materials with light as the trigger. In contrast to the traditional AEM and LOM, the proposed light trigger coupled oxygen evolution mechanism requires the unit cell to undergo reversible geometric conversion between octahedron and square planar to achieve electronic states around the Fermi level with alternative metal and oxygen characters throughout the oxygen evolution process. Platonic solids, octahedron and stuff. Utilizing this electron transfer pathway can bypass the potential limiting steps, that is, oxygen-oxygen bonding in AEM and deprotonation in LOM1. As a result, the electrocatalysts that operate through this route show superior activity compared with previously reported electrocatalysts. Thus, it is expected that the proposed light-triggered coupled oxygen evolution mechanism adds a layer of understanding to the oxygen evolution research scene. Yeah, this might be a nice scene since they have metal bands and stuff. But I find this very interesting. They're talking about, or he, or whatever, they. Where is it? Octahedron. NiO6 and square planar NiO4. So we are talking about the structured atom, transmutation of elements, ion exchange, valence of the ingredients and their interactions. Also at the Fermi level, of course. Let's check it out. What's the Fermi level? Fermi level. Copy. Fermi level. The Fermi level of a solid-state body is the thermodynamic work required to add one electron to the body. Yeah, this first sentence is quite something to think about. Thermodynamic work. It is a thermodynamic quantity, usually denoted by, what is it? I don't know. U and EF for brevity. I have no idea what brevity is. I'm learning, I'm sharing it. I don't know everything. The Fermi level does not include the work required to remove the electron from wherever it came from. So they are just constructing but not deconstructing. A precise understanding of the Fermi level, how it relates to electronic band structures in determining electronic properties, how it relates to the voltage and flow of charge in an electronic circuit, is essential to an understanding of solid-state physics. Yes, I got a lot to learn still. In band structure theory, used in solid-state physics, to analyze the energy levels in a solid, the Fermi level can be considered to be a hypothetical energy level of an electron, such that a thermodynamic equilibrium this energy, so that at thermodynamic equilibrium this energy level would have a 50% probability of being occupied at any given time. The position of the Fermi level in relation to the band energy levels is a crucial factor in determining electrical properties. The Fermi level does not necessarily correspond to an actual energy level. In an insulator, the Fermi level lies in the band gap, nor does it require the existence of a band structure. Nonetheless, the Fermi level is a precisely defined thermodynamic quantity, and differences in Fermi level can be measured simply with a voltmeter. Okay. Sometimes it is said that electric currents are driven by differences in electrostatic potential. But this is not exactly true. Yeah, maybe I stop here because this could be endless continued. Pauli reporten. Yeah, my granddad's name was Pauli. But anyway, we are electromagnetic beings made mainly out of water. We need salt. We need sunlight. Our thoughts are electromagnetic impulses interpreted by your brain. I think that's all related. Sometimes you have a lot of energy, but it's on the negative side. Sometimes you don't have much, but it's still on the positive, the polarity. Hitting your fractal or not. If you are not in your fractal, everything is very difficult. If you are in your fractal, things just come to you. But that's how the universe works. Try to stay open-minded, because then the possibility for something good or interesting or whatever to pop up wherever in your mind, or you just stumble across stuff, is much bigger than if you're closed-minded, because then the possibilities for finding something new are much smaller. But anyway, be as Mother Earth, expand. Thanks. Bye.